hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll.
I'm not going to do anything else.
256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
A very pleasant good Wednesday evening to you. Welcome into the drive here, live from Baumhower's Victory Grille. So I know you heard an announcement earlier today on the Tom Abraham show that he's going to get another syndicate. Well, contrary to popular belief, easy for me to say, we're going to try a talk show for 2 hours. I mean, it's been a minute, but nonetheless, I've enjoyed a lot of basketball, obviously. How are you, Wes?
Doing good. Good to be here at Baumhower's, that's for sure. There
is no question about that. Or as you said at the end of that spot there with Jacob Tyler, there's no doubt about that.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of Wingland here at Baumhower's Victory Grille. But honestly, I've been kind of in a black and white mood as folks try to eat a little healthier. Well, that at least comes with the broccoli here is fantastic.
Really is.
So there's that as well. Joe Hunk is back at the ranch. Man on the board. Appreciate Joe for filling in. As anyway, well, we'll get Brian back when he is available. He is listed as day-to-day, but then again, aren't we all? No, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. No, he's fine. But nonetheless, coming up on the program today, we're going to talk some basketball with Jay Billis from ESPN. He is going to join us here in about 15 minutes' time. We'll also catch up with Drew DeArmond because, after all, we're at
imagine how that works.
Baumhower's, but we're here at Baumhower's. Drew DeArmond going to join us. There is a 5-star commitment that was landed this afternoon. We'll dive into a little bit of that. And coming up at the top of the second hour, Sonny Vaccaro is going to join us.
Yeah. Hadn't heard from him in a while.
And I randomly texted Sonny. I believe this was last night. No, this was 2 nights ago. True TV was airing Air, the movie that I felt like we chronicled that movie for a couple of years, the one with Matt Damon.
I've never seen it.
Have you not?
No.
It was on True TV the other night. It is a great movie.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
It's a great movie, but he also has a new book out called Legends and Souls, and bought the Audible book earlier today. I'm already through chapter 7. I'm getting ready to dive into chapter 8 and looking forward. So I talked to Sonny earlier today, and I talked to Pam as well, his wife, and looking forward to that conversation, not just about the tournament, but about his book as well that is out there to be purchased. And I generally like the Audible books a little bit more than just me flipping pages. But anyway, helps you roll along, multitasking with a few other things. On the subject of multitasking, why don't you download our app? Just search 977 ESPN, or you can also download Talk Radio WZZN as well, because Trash Panda baseball season starts next Friday. In fact, there's a few Bama fans that were thinking that baseball season started last night.
Payoff pitch. Here's a swing and a line drive deep down the left field line. Will drop in for a base hit, roll to the left field corner, and that wins it for the Tide. Plattner scores on the RBI walk-off double by Justin LeBron. He delivers victory at Toyota Field, making it Alabama 4 and North Alabama 3, a walk-off winner in the bottom of the ninth.
So kudos there to the Crimson Tide, but, nice showing there from the Lions as well. Of UNA. They needed a walk-off.
Texted me last night, said, "Hey, you here at the game?" And I almost said, "What game?" Then I figured it out before I said that.
That's probably a smart thing to do right there.
Yeah.
What game? But we aired that game as best we could last night. We did have some communication problems out at the tower. Just to let everybody know. Hopefully we're all good. Hopefully we're all good right there. So the other thing that is happening around college basketball right now is the transfer portal. is open. Right now, there's over 1,000 kids in the transfer portal.
Who are these people that doing this?
So we had this
How
issue.
does that make any sense whatsoever?
We had this issue pop up, obviously, in college football. Same deal for college basketball.
Those old people don't know the calendar. I don't get this.
Bruce Pearl had this to say on Sirius XM satellite radio about the portal being open right now. Because your opinion and my opinion kind of line up. Not so much for Bruce Pearl.
And I'll tell you what, I'm really, really good with the start time. And here's why. Almost everybody's done except 16 teams. Okay? And so I don't want to play the card, hey, us poor 16 teams are going to fall behind the transfer portal. No, that's not the case. If you waited any longer, all these kids that are on all these teams that know they're probably not coming back or want to get in the transfer portal and examine, what, are they going to wait another week? They're going to wait 2 more weeks to the Final Four? No, it's time. You got to do what's best for the majority. And what's best for the majority, I think, is this. I don't like starting it any sooner than this because now all of a sudden, now you are really penalizing a lot of teams that were involved in making it to postseason. And look, you're going to have kids if you did it much earlier, you would have kids that are on rosters that are in the NCAA tournament and put their name in the transfer portal. There could be some kids right now on these 16 teams that all of a sudden you read about are already in the portal. That could happen.
Are we ever going to get to a point where a kid goes, hey, you know what? We're in the Sweet 16 right now. I got an okay deal. You need to kind of up it, or else I'm putting my name in the transfer portal. I mean, did the players have that kind of leverage?
I suppose it could happen. I don't see it happening in such a way where you've got a great player that is saying, I want more, I'm not playing. I just don't see that happen because, look, these universities support the kids. The kids appreciate the great support and all the resources that they're receiving from the university. What we more likely is somebody on one of these teams that's not playing as much. And if they want to put their name in the portal, then that's, I guess, look, that's their right to do so. Here's where I am on transfers. I think graduate transfers are great. I think a one-time transfer exception without sitting out is great. That gives you 2 opportunities to transfer in 5 years. I think that every year you're able to leave. We're teaching kids to flee, not fight. We're not making them better husbands or better fathers or grinding through a challenging situation.
That is Bruce Pearl on Sirius XM satellite radio. I think we can all jump on board with that last thought there from Coach Pearl as they get set to just drive up an hour and a half and take on Michigan on Friday.
I agree with everything you said, but I think it ought to be next week. They can wait a week. Do it during the Final Four. If they want to leave during the Final Four, who wants them anyway? Right?
1 week, I don't think would hurt too much.
I mean, I just think it's not the timing. I just don't know who comes up with this timing.
Well,
they can't really leave anyway till after they graduate, right?
So right now it's just the wild, wild west. You can jump into the portal anytime.
Well, you can jump in the portal, but you can't leave school.
Oh, yeah. That whole class thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That still goes on a little bit, doesn't it?
A little bit. Are you telling me? Is this more for tutors or?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of these kids are doing online classes.
Yeah.
I guess they do online classes anywhere. I guess you be practicing basketball in Kentucky doing an online class in Alabama. No. It's kind of nuts to me.
And I know you weren't here yesterday, but my favorite bit of audio from the big dance so far, Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley, ladies and gentlemen.
To AT&T at the half. Ernie Johnson, Clark Kellogg, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. Biggest takeaway from the first half?
Well, I think that's a good question.
Thank you very much.
That's his job.
I would not have came out of left field for you.
You expect Ernie not to ask for anything? You expect him to sit here? Look at you. You know the game I'm watching. I'm watching Brian against MSU.
You can't watch more than one game at a time. You watch all these TV shows at one time.
That's at night, man. They're not all at the same time, man. One after the other. Ernie, I'm not gonna lie. I was paying attention to the Bryant score. So get at the Clark or Kenneth, please.
That is priceless.
Yeah, I'll say first.
Yeah, that's the first.
I wasn't watching. That's somebody
He's a
else.
man of many firsts, by the way.
That was the Kentucky second round game. They're at halftime.
No, he was watching a different
He was
game.
watching a different game. That's our boy Charles Barkley. We'll talk to Jay Billis about the transfer portal as well as 7 teams out of the Southeastern Conference. We're live here at Baumhower's Victory Grille, and as you can tell, there's not a few tables open right now, but come on by. We're here till 7 p.m. We're going to try to figure this out for the next hour and 50 minutes. Jay Billis joins us next as we're live here from Baumhower's. It's The Drive right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's truck month. No payments for 90 days on 24 and 25 models of F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, and Lightning. We've got over 220 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Great deals on Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, and Explorer 2. Come check those out. But right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you can drive a 2024 F-150 XLT Hybrid for as little as $339 a month. $339 for an F-150. That's a 36-month lease with $64.48 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends $331.25. Call us at 539-9441 for complete details. Over 220 F-150s and nearly 50 Rangers and Maverick pickups to choose from, all with great sales incentives and 0 payments for 90 days. Woody Anderson Ford, we hope to see you soon.
Hey, do you have heating and air issues as the springtime starts to roll around? Hey, there's just one name you need to know. Talent Heating and Air. #1 heating and air business right here in the Tennessee Valley.
Yeah, we're locally based. If you call, you're going to get somebody based in Huntsville. Mentioned in spring earlier, we can actually do indoor air quality products, so we can help alleviate those allergy problems you're having in your house.
All right, Thomas from Talent Heating and Air, give them the number that when they call, somebody live and local will pick up.
That's 256-503-4490.
And you can always head to the World Wide Web and find Talent Heating and Air, and you guys will still respond.
That's talenthvac.com. If you don't want to talk to a person right away, you can fill out a form on there and get scheduled for a visit.
That's Talent Heating and Air. They're live, they're local. It's Talent Heating and Air.
AL certain number 21014.
The Bass Pro Shops Red Crest Championship Outdoor Expo will be at the Pond Bronze Center April 4th, 5th, and 6th in conjunction with the MLF Red Crest Championship on Lake Gunnersville. The Outdoor Expo will be open from 11 to 6:30 daily, and the first 200 kids 14 and under on Saturday will receive a free Abu Garcia rod and reel, courtesy of WHNT News 19. There will be hourly giveaways, tackle and boat deals, seminars, and a chance to meet the pros. And it's free of charge. The Bass Pro Shops Red Crest Championship Outdoor Expo, April 4th through 6th at the BBC.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your your shingles, we can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
But you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here at Baumhower's Victory Grill, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. Don't forget, coming up in hour number 2, Sonny Vaccaro going to join us. And also Jordy Arman going to join us as well to talk a little spring football. I mean, after all, this is the state of Alabama. And we are your home for the Crimson Tide Sports Network. But front and center right out of the gate is Alabama taking on BYU tomorrow. And that should be quite the matchup, to say the least. And, of course, Auburn on Friday over in Atlanta taking on Michigan. And
so they switched up? I didn't know that.
Auburn plays Friday and Bama plays tomorrow.
Is that new? I thought in the past, once you played on Thursday, you played every Thursday.
I don't know the answer to that question. I would
right.
yield to the TV. You know what? Let's yield to a Hall of Famer, shall we? He is part of the Southern California Basketball Hall of Fame, but we know him quite well in his work there on ESPN. As Jay Billis is kind enough to join us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing real well. Let's start out with the transfer portal. We talked a little bit about that in the first segment. What is your opinion on the transfer portal opening at this time during the Sweet 16?
It has to open sometime, and it depends on how you look at it. You can look at it saying it's not fair to the 16 teams that are still playing, but what about the 350 that aren't playing?
Yeah.
And, you got to start it sometime. And if you wait until the Final Four is over, that's an awfully short window before the end of the school year and all that stuff. So, I mean, there are coaches on the committee that decides when the portal opens. And some of the coaches agree with the way it works now. Some don't. Maybe most don't. I don't know. But there are reasons behind it. It's not a pleasant thing for anybody. But I don't think, this all came in because of coaches. It used to be that players just came in and told them they were transferring. Now they have to declare it, and they open up their recruitment. So it's a little bit of a different animal than it used to be. But this is because this exists because the NCAA structure. This is what everybody wanted. And if they don't, years ago when I was advocating that players should be compensated, they were saying, "Hey, quit complaining about it. If you don't like it, change the rule." Well, it's kind of the same deal. It's their rule. If you don't like it, go to the NCAA and change it.
Do you like the current state of college basketball?
I do. Yeah, I like it better than before, where the coaches and administrators made all the money and the players just got a scholarship. I thought that was horribly unfair, especially in a multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry. Now it's getting a little closer to fairness, where the players are allowed to bargain for their fair market value. And I mean, they're young adults, but these are adults. And if you can sell them for billions of dollars, you can pay them their value. And I think that's the only fair thing to do. And if people don't like the portal, the way to keep players in one place is sign them to a multi-year contract and put a buyout in there. You can do it with coaches. I mean, the coaches break them anyway. Heck, if people are worried about tampering with players, it doesn't seem to bother them that coaches are tampered with every single year. I mean, Will Wade negotiated his way out of McNeese State while his team was still in the NCAA tournament. That didn't seem to bother anybody. But boy, if a player shakes hands with somebody in a handshake line, now all of a sudden that's coaching and tampering. I just don't buy that.
So, what would you? Why do you think the South conference has done been able to do what it's been able to do, and maybe the best conference ever. I think that's what you had said. We're close to, arguably. What do you think? How does that happen? It just seems like it was a sudden, like, I guess. And I think my opinion, the portal had a lot to do with it.
The portal is open for everybody. That's not the issue. What happened, in my view, was 7-8 years ago, the SEC had gone a few years in a row of only getting 3 or 4 teams in the tournament. They decided to make a commitment to basketball. So they hired Mike Tranghese, the former commissioner of the Big East. And Tranghese came in there and told everybody, quit making excuses. Like, you can get better. And the league started consulting with their schools on hires, not telling them who to hire, but letting them know, hey, be careful, don't hire this guy. Stuff like that. And then they consulted on schedules. Like, you weren't allowed to have a weak non-conference schedule because it drags the whole league down. And they made very, very intelligent coaching hires. They really invested in basketball. They upgraded all their schedules, and slowly but surely, things got better. And it's risen up over the last several years, but this is kind of the apex of it. This is the high point. I can't imagine that it's going to, you're going to get more than 14 teams into the tournament in a year. Like, that, to me, that's unimaginable. But the fact that you did, I mean, South Carolina, I think, was the best last place team in the league I've ever seen. And, that's a credit to the league. Everything came together because of a lot of hard work over the last 7 or 8 years by everybody involved in the league.
It certainly doesn't seem sustainable. I mean, saying that out loud.
I mean,
14 teams. I mean, this doesn't feel like an every year occurrence, but it does feel like that there is a shift in terms of how much better SEC basketball is going to be moving forward, just generally speaking, Jay.
You would think so. But, like, everything changes, and just like everything, if you don't pay close attention to it, you can take a step back. I'm not saying it'll go back to 3 teams getting in, that kind of thing. No one's suggesting that. But you can certainly take a step back. Look at football. I mean, everybody thought that SEC football was going to dominate forever, and it's still arguably the best league in football, but it's not. You can't stockpile players. With the players getting compensated, you can't stockpile them anymore because nobody's going to be a third, a third wheel, on the depth chart to be third on the depth chart when they could be first somewhere else and make more money doing it. Just like the coaching staffs in football. It's not like Dabo Swinney, Kirby Smart, and Nick Saban were all in the same coaching staff because Alabama would pay more. That's not the way those things work.
Well, on the subject of Alabama, this run here for Nate Oates, it has just, I realized guard play was premium for him during his time at Buffalo, but man, has he built something special in Tuscaloosa. What was your impressions of what you saw out of Alabama in the St. Mary's game, Jay?
Well, they played against a team that's really difficult to play against because they slowed the tempo down. They're ultra physical, but Alabama's one of those unique teams that, when they try to speed the game up to play more at their tempo, you're never going to get your own tempo playing against St. Mary's because they're going to hold it. But they're uniquely suited to attack St. Mary's, and I thought they did a really good job of it. And St. Mary's is good. Like, they got men on that team. They're big and strong and physical, and they're like a football team out there, physicality-wise. But Nate's a great coach. Like, he makes the most intelligent use of analytics, and that's one of the ways he puts his team together. But it's just a pleasure to watch his team play. Like, they play fast. They play smart, but they got a blue collar attitude about what they do, and they're very capable. They got a tough draw. It's not going to be easy if they wind up winning this game that they've got against BYU to go against Duke, because I'm pretty sure. I feel comfortable that Duke is going to beat Arizona, even though Arizona can win. I think Duke's significantly better, and Alabama could really caused Duke a lot of problems. Now, Duke can cause them a lot of problems, too. I think in a 7-game series, I'd probably favor Duke in that one. But in a 1-game scenario, Alabama's going to be a tough out.
So when you look at, I guess, what's the Naismith?
Yeah.
Basketball award. You look at the two guys. How do you compare Cooper Flagg and Janai Broome?
It's a coin flip. Like, Broome's had an unbelievable year. I think early on, probably the first 3 quarters of the season, I thought it was his award, and Flagg was going to have to take it away from him. And I thought toward the end, Flagg did take it away from him. And down the stretch, Flagg was probably a little bit better. But it just kind of depends on what you value. Those awards are really hard to figure out in certain years. And this year, you got 2 guys that are more than worthy of the award, but only one of them's going to get it. And they may split a few of them. Who knows? Like, there's the Naismith, there's the Wooden, there are all these different awards. So they may split them. It's that kind of year. But Flagg's the better player, I think, long term, and really right now. But Broome has had an unbelievable season. He's really he's a tremendous player and just a great story.
Well, on the subject of Broome and the Auburn Tigers taking on Michigan, I have not seen a whole lot of Michigan, honestly, Jay. What kind of matchup are we going to see in Atlanta on Friday?
Michigan's good. I think Auburn's better, but Michigan's very good. They've got 2 really good big guys. Vlad Golden, who played at Florida Atlantic for Dusty May, is now the head coach of Michigan. He's 7-1, really strong. Like, I think he had 23 and 12 in their win over Texas A&M, and that should tell you, like, they out-rebounded Texas A&M. And not a lot of teams do that, including Auburn. Auburn got run in College Station. Now, granted, it was the game after they, clinched the SEC title at Rupp. So, there's probably a little hangover effect to that. But Danny Wolf is another, Auburn should know him pretty well. He played at Yale when they beat Auburn last year. Another 7-footer that's really skilled. I mean, probably their best passer. And he runs a lot of pick and roll action with Golden. It's very difficult to deal with. But with the way Auburn can switch, they cause them a lot of problems. I think Auburn's guards are significantly better. But, Auburn will recognize a couple of those guys. I mean, Danny Wolf put him out of the tournament last year at Yale, and then Trey Donaldson played for him last year. So they'll see some familiar faces out there.
If there's one of the SEC teams in terms of maybe getting underplayed, not talked as much about, at least from who I read and who I listen to, Ole Miss. I mean, that they just went right through North Carolina and Iowa State, and I realize Michigan State is up next, but this team's just off of last week alone, I was thoroughly impressed with how Ole Miss handled the first weekend, Jay.
They played great. I was honestly very surprised. Not that they won the game, because I knew they were capable. I mean, you watch them all year long in that league and the games that they won. They can beat anybody on a given night. But the fact that they so thoroughly handled Iowa State, and not many teams shoot 58% against Iowa State. And they knocked down perimeter shots. I think they were over 50% from 3 in that game. They've got some difficult matchups. Like, I always thought Matthew Burrell was one of the more complete players in the country. And this year, he's probably their 3rd leading scorer. Last year was their leading scorer. He's probably his 3rd this year. Sean Padulas played great. And I think Malik D is a tough matchup. Michigan State's hard to play against because their transition's so good. And but they're not a great shooting team. But the one thing they do that Ole Miss has, I don't want to say struggled with, but it's not been a strength of theirs, is Michigan State really rebounds, and that's not been a strength of Ole Miss on a consistent basis. But they got out rebounded by Iowa State, but their turnover margin is usually so good they can make up for it, and that's going to be key in that game. They can't let Michigan State get out in transition and play ahead of their defense. They got to make it a half-court game.
First week of the tournament, who do you think's looked the best of the 16 teams left?
Well, look the best. I mean, a lot of it depends on who you played, but to me, it's been Florida and Duke. And Florida, I think that win they got against UConn, obviously it's great to get the win, but I think it's good for teams to play tight games in the tournament. And they played a lot of tight games throughout the course of the year. Very few teams have played a better league schedule than they had to play. And to have a game like that against UConn to come through, I think was really a good thing for them. Duke hasn't played a close game in a while. And who knows, that may be an issue when, this coming weekend, or if they get past that and beyond. They don't live in close games, and Florida does. So who knows? That could be a separating factor in favor of Florida.
I'm stealing this straight from PTI. Most intriguing matchup in the Sweet 16. How about in your opinion? What is the most intriguing matchup in the Sweet 16 in your opinion, Jay Bellis?
I think it'll probably be Tennessee, Kentucky, and I know they've played already. I mean, there are a number of interesting and intriguing matchups. I mean, Florida's got one with Maryland, and Maryland hadn't lost a game this year by more than 6 points. They've been in everything, but the Tennessee, Kentucky game, it's kind of hard to imagine. Like Kentucky shot in the 2 games against Tennessee this year. Kentucky shot over 50%, over 50% for 3. Against Tennessee. They're the only team in the country that's done that against them. And, Tennessee is one of the 2 or 3 best defensive teams in the country, and nobody shot 50% against them, and certainly not from 3. And then Kentucky does it twice. So that'll be interesting to watch. Like Tennessee doesn't like to switch. They want to stay with their own. And Kentucky does a pretty good job of putting them in positions where they can take advantage of that because they can initiate offense in so many different spots on the floor. But if Tennessee doesn't score efficiently, I think Kentucky's defense has improved. They're still not as good a defensive team as Tennessee is, but they're going to have to get some production out of their big guys. Like Akpara and Milicic have to put the numbers on the board because they can't let the guards do it all.
This is the last year, the COVID year. Do you think we're going to see the effects of the non-COVID year next basketball season, Jay?
I don't think anybody has noticed it. What do you mean, non-COVID?
I'm just a number of coaches have told me this is grown man basketball, that it's going to get younger. Do you think we're going to notice that in the fall?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it might be a year younger, but you're still going to have older players out there. And now, like when people say, "Well, geez, I can't have relationships anymore, it's hard to have a culture," and all that stuff, I'm like, get your violin out because Kentucky didn't have a single player on the roster, and they've got a great culture, and so does Louisville. It's not that big of a deal. It's different. I get it. It's different. I get that the older you are, the less likely you are to embrace change. But there are a lot of teams doing extraordinarily well out there, adapting to the current landscape. I mean, look, Ole Miss hasn't been to the Sweet 16 since 2001. This is only their 3rd trip total in their history. And so when people say, well, there's no such thing as Cinderella anymore, like, okay, so Ole Miss doesn't count. And BYU was in the West Coast Conference. They were a mid-major 2 years ago. And they're in the Big 12 now, but does that all of a sudden make them a major conference behemoth? I mean, I don't know how people look at this stuff, but I think it's just as compelling as it's ever been.
I've seen you on Sports Center. You went pretty chalky but I mean, honestly, we've had a lot of chalk. Anything for the first weekend make you feel any different about multiple 1 seeds being in San Antonio?
No. I looked at the bracket and I saw the 1 seeds having a pretty good path. It's only happened one time before where all 4 number 1s made it to the Final Four. It happened in 2008. And oddly enough, the Final Four was in San Antonio, so maybe lightning strikes twice. But, I think this makes the teams that we have make for a really compelling second weekend and Final Four. It's funny. People say they like upsets and Cinderella and March Madness stuff, but the ratings indicate that they don't watch it, and the ratings are up. The ratings for the tournament are the highest they've been since 1993, and we had the highest regular season ratings we've had in 6 years. So it's funny how people are talking about the canary in the coal mine and the death knell of college sports. The ratings are up in football and basketball. I mean, clearly clearly the viewers haven't gotten the message from the doomsday sayers.
I would argue that I think the basketball this year has been some of the best college basketball I've watched in a long time. And I don't know if it's because of the players are sticking around longer, that are getting paid, not going overseas early or going to the NBA.
Is probably the best example of that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's just my opinion. I don't know if that. I'm interested to see what you think about that.
Well, it's clear that players are staying longer. You're not going to have a guy like Cooper Flagg stay longer because he's going to be the top pick in the draft. But guys who would have been late first, early second, whatever, they can stay longer and go when they're ready because they're making money, they're getting their education, they're playing, and they're able to build their brands and all these different things. It's fantastic. I mean, like I get it, the good old days of having your thumb on the players, and that they weren't allowed to do anything. They couldn't take a sandwich at a local Subway without getting suspended. I think it's better now, but if people like amateurism, like Division II and Division III are wide open. The admission's free in those games. Like, go. And if you want to see, if you want to have long-term relationships and this turns you off, then, I mean, all these coaches can go coach in high school or they can coach at a prep school somewhere, coach in Division II or Division III. I don't see them doing that because they like the money and they like being here. So I get the complaining, and I'm cool with it. Complain all you want to, but the complaints aren't going to change anything.
Yeah, I wanted to close at least with a thought or two, giving your background and your law degree as well. Coming out April 8th has been a big day that we've kind of circled with the antitrust settlement. And I'm wondering, just from your standpoint and following this a little bit, how big of a deal do you think April 8th could potentially be for the NCAA?
Well, it gives the NCAA a little bit more guidance on exactly how to go about this. It doesn't change a lot of things in that it changes, that they'll have a certain amount of money they know they can revenue share with. And if they haven't been planning for it, then they're not very bright, but I think they have been planning for it. What the NCAA is going to do is try to take that settlement when ultimately it's blessed by the court and take it to Congress and say, look, we've done this, now make this law. I'd be surprised if Congress does that. We'll see what happens. But absent congressional intervention, all the NCAA is really doing is, one, they're limiting liability because they would have lost this case to the tune of $5 or $6 billion. And they were able to settle it for 3 plus the revenue share, 2.8 plus the revenue share. And but all they've really done is trade one illegal wage cap for a higher illegal wage cap. So they're not out of the woods from an antitrust perspective in the future. Maybe in the short run they are, but in the long run they're not.
Okay, Jay, what is the answer in your opinion? Long-term contracts, we heard that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. You can't get together as a group and say we're all going to agree to restrict the pay of this one class of employee or this one class of person. Can't do that. That's illegal. It's been illegal forever, and they got away with it for a long time, but those days are over. And they're gonna have to. They've lost all their protection, and they're not going to be able to get away with it. So the smart thing, in my view, absent getting lucky and having Congress say, all right, we'll put a wage cap on the players. But if I were talking to Congress, I'd say, if you're going to put a wage cap on the players, let's see a wage cap on the coaches and the athletic directors and all that stuff. I mean, let's not have just one class of person get screwed here. Let's share it across the board, share the pain. But really, the easy thing to do, and they could do it tomorrow if they wanted to, they just don't want to, is just allow the schools to pay the players as they want to. And the natural and probable consequence of that is they'd sign them to contracts. And if you want to bargain for a contract with a player, you say, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars per year for this many years, maybe an option for another one. But we're going to have a buyout in there. So if you leave for any reason, you're going to owe us X. And that way, if somebody else comes in and says, come play for us, they're going to have to pay the buyout plus pay the player. And that's going to be a lot different of a landscape. And so you're going to see less movement as a result of that. But the NCAA and all the members, they don't want to pay the players directly. And that's where this ridiculous collective thing sprung up from. is they're going to find a way to pay them. And because they want the best players. They know they can't win without the best players. They can lose with the best players, but they certainly can't win without them. And so they're going to do what it takes to get the best players. That's been proven.
Jay, appreciate the insight and really enjoy you on television as well and your breakdowns. And thank you so much for the time here this evening, sir.
No, thank you guys. Have a good one.
That is Jay Billis from ESPN. I mean, a little bit of everything, including the Billustrator. Owner and operator of the Billustrator right there is Jay Billis. I mean, he just laid it out right there.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I agree with a lot of he says.
April 8th, a big day. The $2.8 billion, in theory, is set. But putting a cap on coaches and athletic directors is not an awful idea.
Can't do that. I mean, just like he's saying.
I know.
I think the contract deal is the answer. I've been saying that for, quite some time. And I don't think anybody wants to cap NIL when it's traditional NIL. Here's the issue, and we need to get into this with him because, listen, I love to listen to him, but his breakdowns in basketball. This year has been an awesome year to watch basketball, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Basketball has been a lot better than it has been in the past for the reasons we said.
Yeah.
But you have to have contracts with these guys. I don't see how you get around. They have contracts. They have different things. But you just like the NFL has contracts and the coaches have contracts, they need to have contracts as well. And they need to be multi-year contracts. And I think the only way you can get out of your contract is, it should be at least a 2-year, if not a 3-year contract, is to graduate.
Let's go ahead and take our final time out here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. There's a 5-star commitment heading to Tuscaloosa. So you know who that means. Drudy Armand is in the on-deck circle, and he's going to join us next right here as we're live here from Baumhower's Victory Grill. As you can tell on WZZN TV, it is filling up. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey, folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's truck month. No payments for 90 days on 24 and 25 models of F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, and Lightning. We've got over 220 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Great deals on Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, and Explorer 2. Come check those out. But right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you can drive a 2024 F-150 XLT Hybrid for as little as $339 a month. $339 for an F-150. That's a 36-month lease with 6448 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 3/31/25. Call us at 539-9441 for complete details. Over 220 F-150s and nearly 50 Rangers and Maverick pickups to choose from, all with great sales incentives and 0 payments for 90 days. Woody Anderson Ford, we hope to see you soon.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon, but we are going to be a little bit cooler today. Highs climbing into the mid and upper 60s. A couple of folks hitting the lower 70s, but we're definitely going to be cooler today compared to what we saw yesterday across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. Really going to begin to notice the increase in cloud cover through Thursday afternoon, and then as we head into Thursday evening, temperatures consistently climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Everything you need is just a click away.
Come up sometimes, see me.
Okay, almost everything.
Come up, I'll tell you a fortune.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Back here at Baumhower's Victory Grill, Joe Hunk back at the studios of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Appreciate him filling in right after just got through with his own show. You can hear right after our morning show. It's the Blitz, and preceding the Blitz, there is Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Trudy Armand. And then Joe also runs it. There was a rumor that Tom Abraham actually talked today.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
I think he might have been on the boat fishing.
Was that an AI?
Well, he talked yesterday about Johnny Broom.
Is that real?
Several times.
Oh, goodness.
It's hard to get AI to do what you want it to do properly, and that's kind of what we've had to do with Tom.
Well, at least he didn't do it with Jay Billis, because that would have been really embarrassing.
I thought he wouldn't have. He'd have done it with Jay Bilas. So
then there would have been a hang up, and then we'd never be able to talk to Jay again.
Yeah. Well, this station's come a long way since breaking down the difference between Walmart and Kmart on the air.
Oh my goodness.
So in theory, we're going to get more. The rumor has it Tom Abraham hosts a show on this radio station, but we're still fact checking that. You can fact check it tomorrow from noon to 2. All right, Trudy Armand, talk to me about Jordan Edmonds.
6'2", 180-pound corner, Marietta, Georgia. He's a major target. He'd been on campus several times. Basically, had been leaning to Alabama since early January. It was thought he was going to commit on his birthday on February 19th, but he pushed it back a little bit. He was just on campus a few days ago with his parents, and grew up an Alabama fan. Even though I think in this NIL era, that's like overhyped a little bit, but certainly. I think Mo Lindquist, since he arrived on campus last year, has done an amazing job recruiting DBs. And the thing, what I just said about him too, is you've already got it sounds like a freakazoid who's 6'4", who's.
I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? He's the buzz of camp.
Yeah, he's an amazing story. They got him committed pretty early. He's from Southern California. He's. You just don't see guys, that are as big as he is. And I think the big thing with Courtney Morgan is I think Courtney Morgan, had a connection with him, early on. And I think that's kind of what ended up working out for Alabama and why they were able to get him. And it's probably a lot of the reason that they're getting Jordan Edmonds because, I've been so basketball centric lately. I've been keeping up with recruiting, but not as much. But Edmonds was a guy whose name got hot pretty quickly. They only have a handful of commitments right now. He's number 4. One of them, of course, being Jamarian Matthews, who was here at Sparkman and now has gone to Gainesville, Georgia, to play for Josh Niblett. But again, that's one of those things where I just think overall that they've just done a really nice job of recruiting DB since he got here, because I'm looking at a couple of, like Ivan Taylor, the safety from Winter Gardens, Florida. Ike Taylor's his dad. He's going to be a major contributor. And you were talking about Dejon Lee, West, and I think Dejon Lee 6'4", and he's I guess when I looked at him, and I've only seen video and I've seen the practice clips. I haven't seen him practice. Hope to be able to do that, and in a couple times this spring. But he just reminds me so much of Dre Kirkpatrick, because Dre had that kind of. I wouldn't watch Dre in high school play against Tuscaloosa County when he was a senior at Gadsden City, and he just could move and do things that you wouldn't think a 6'3" guy could do as a defensive back. Great hips. Matter of fact, the game I saw, he had a pick 6 and he sealed the game and did a backflip into the end zone. I thought, well, Saban's got to fix that, but it just shows you what a freak athletically he was, and it took him 3 years to figure Saban's D out. But once he did, he was lights out, and then he played 10 plus years in the NFL. Yeah. So
he was he couldn't break an egg first year, but he can cover. And then all of a sudden against Arkansas, if you remember, in the sophomore year, had a big interception, a big hit in the game. Anyway, it's fun to hear these stories in spring where you got these freshmen coming in and doing really well, because that's really hard to do.
It is.
And you think about a guy named Quentin Williams, who literally didn't play at all his freshman year. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's hard to play as a freshman.
It is, but I will say this about this new coaching staff, and it's probably why they got a Dejon Lee, why they're getting Jordan Edmonds, because they've got a lot of DBs returning. Even though they're going to lose Damani Jackson and guys like that who are seniors, but they're playing a lot of guys, and they played a lot of guys last year. Just like Wes and I have talked about, probably the most improved player from game 1 to the end, because he was barely playing early in the year, was Bray Hubbard. Yeah. And Bray Hubbard ended up becoming not just a good, a guy that was contributing, but a really good player.
Yeah.
And because, it was terrible to lose Keon Sabb, but because they lost him, Bray Hubbard developed, and now you get Sabb back. So even though you lost Malachi Moore, you should be in good shape.
He's still 18, by the way. He's still 18.
Of course.
Yeah.
We'll wait till the spring.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a roster sheet.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
So both of those guys, though, I believe this year that they'll be better in the secondary than they were at the end of last year.
Mm.
I do. I think the secondary was the whole reason I thought they'd lose 3 games last year. But I think this year they have a chance to be special on defense. A chance if the linebackers come through. Because the defensive linemen, they have 2 freshmen, from what I understand, down there are just giving them fits that are gotten it. It's gone off of their head. And that's usually what it takes. It's hard to play as a freshman as an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. Almost impossible. I mean, you have these freaks at tackle. It's a little easier if you have the footwork down. So inside, though, it's just physically so demanding. Every play, it's hard to have the maturity to be able to handle it. Drew, one thing that bothers me, and I know it bothers other people, and you hear the only negative thing that, to me, out of the Kalen DeBoer era so far was discipline, which it seems that they've realized that and are starting to become more of a team, I think, led discipline, which you have to have. And then, but the recruiting they seem to not be recruiting as hard in Alabama as maybe the past programs, and they're catching a little heat for it. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think they're recruiting the state this year at the beginning a little harder. They didn't recruit it as hard last year when they got here, because I think they already, especially Courtney, Dejon Lee's a great example. I think they had a great relationship with him already. They were going to try to recruit him to Washington, and the Jackson Lloyds of the world that they found. they had a lot of connections with guys over on the West Coast, and I think they evaluated a lot of those guys in state, and I think that there was only a few of them that they really liked. They did want Derek Smith very badly. They tried to the bitter end to flip him from Auburn. Auburn did a great job, flipped him, promised him to play offense, and they had more of a vision of him being a big safety. And so he ended up going to Auburn. But I think this year they're trying, like Isaiah Crowell, or excuse me, I should say, or the Crowell kid who's reclassified. He was on campus just a day or two ago. He's considered maybe one of the top 3 running backs in the country from Jackson, Alabama. I think they're in strong shape with him, at least from what I hear. I mean, we'll see. Crowell is a guy that they won the state championship for the first time this year at Jackson High School, and it was a massacre. I mean, and they've won the last 2 with some of those same athletes, Landon Duckworth, and who's a quarterback. The coach at Jackson, it used to be Danny Powell.
Yeah, I know Danny.
Yeah, but I think he retired and went into the private school situation. I'd have to check that. Man. Yeah, because Danny's the first one that basically kind of elevated Jackson.
He used to be at Leroy.
Right.
When they were winning championships.
Right. So
I'm good friends with Danny Powell, actually.
Yeah, he's gone. I think he's gone the private school sector. But Jackson won their first football state title. Landon Duckworth's their quarterback. He's also one of their best basketball players. They've actually won the last 2 4A basketball titles, and now they've won in football. So they're going through a kind of a golden era right now athletically. But the Powell kid is an outstanding running back. He's gonna. I mean, Alabama and Auburn are after him heavy, but I think Alabama's really trying to turn it up. They want to get him. They've identified several kids in state in this class, and I think in many ways it didn't please a lot of people. But again, most of this staff, when they brought him in, that he kept Robert Gillespie, he kept Freddie Roach, but there wasn't a lot of guys, including the recruiting staff that he brought in, that had a lot of ties to Alabama. And I think again, they just, when they were evaluating their class, and that's the thing, their class on paper, we'll see in a year or two if it was really better than Auburn's, but it was rated ahead of Auburn still. And so we'll see. And then they only had, and the amazing part is they only lost 1 kid, Ty Haywood to Michigan. He didn't enroll early, the offensive tackle. He went to, he flipped to Michigan because of NIL, but everybody else they kept. And from what I understand, they had their coaches clinic this past weekend. And one of those guys I just mentioned, Jackson Lloyd, he's from Carmel, California. He's looking like, I heard you just mention a freakazoid offensive tackle. He looks like he may be one of those. He was getting reps with the ones. Now, a lot of those guys are hurt in the spring, but I think they believe he can contribute as a freshman. And as you said, Wes, it's hard to do that as a lineman.
Oh, very hard.
But I mean, but you
got to be a freak athletically.
Yeah.
You got to be a tackle.
And then
usually you don't have the intestinal fortitude nor the strength. Think about some of these guys are 24 and 25 years old now playing. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
David Dugan was announced as the head football coach there at Jackson Academy.
Yeah. Well, Jackson High School, the Aggies.
Okay.
It's not a private school. It's a public school. They're the Aggies.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They won the baseball. Coach Powell was the baseball coach and won it. I don't know how many times at Leroy, but I think he won the baseball state championship several times at Jackson as well.
Yeah, he's Coach Powell's had a ton of success, man.
He wins everywhere he goes.
Right. He knows how to win. There's no doubt about that.
Well, also no doubt about that is I think we can keep Drew around after we talk to Sonny Vaccaro next. Here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. Drew, would you like to stick around and enjoy some Baumhowers?
Absolutely. Certainly always enjoy hearing from Sonny Vaccaro. He's got all the stories over the years, and I'm sure he'll even have some interesting NCAA tournament insights too.
Yeah, absolutely. We are about to dive into some more college hoops with the man himself. Sonny Vaccaro joins us next, right after this Sports Center update. 1 hour in the books. 1 hour to go here live from Baumhower's Victory Grill.
Hey, folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's truck month. No payments for 90 days on 24 and 25 models of F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, and Lightning. We've got over 220 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Great deals on Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, and Explorer 2. Come check those out. But right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you can drive a 2024 F-150 XLT Hybrid for as little as $339 a month. $339 for an F-150. That's a 36-month lease with 6448 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 3/31/25. Call us at 539-9441 for complete details. Over 220 F-150s and nearly 50 Rangers and Maverick pickups to choose from, all with great sales incentives and 0 payments for 90 days. Woody Anderson Ford.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Here's Sports Center.
They're scuffling over the last couple of weeks, dropping 7 of their last 10, including 3 in a row by double digits. Lakers looking to right the ship tonight when they visit the Pacers. Luka Doncic has said it's partly on him to help LA get back on track, along with LeBron. ESPN NBA analyst Corey Alexander.
He is now one of the leaders. I mean, Bron pretty much said, hey, Luka, I'm going to let you do you. I'm going to go step over here and change my role so that you can be who you are. That's much more responsibility added to Luka Doncic. So, and he's going to have to be better each and every time out now, especially with the schedule the Lakers have to play down the stretch for them to be able to stay in one of those top 6 spots.
Corey Alexander on Freddie and Harry. LeBron James is active tonight. He missed 7 games earlier this month with a groin issue. Lakers-Pacers tip off bottom of the hour on ESPN. Celtics leading scorer Jason Tatum doubtful tonight against the Suns with a sprained ankle. 10 Eastern ESPN. Bucks will be missing another star tonight against the Nuggets. Giannis Antetokounmpo out with a sprained foot. Milwaukee already without Damian Lillard, who's sidelined indefinitely with a blood clot in his right calf. Red Sox skipper Alex Cora confirming Rafael Devers will serve as the team's primary DH this season, opening the third base job for newcomer Alex Bregman. Added the move shows Boston is in the winning business.
What's up, kiddos? Clinton Yates here. Coming up on Thursday, the 2025 MLB season gets underway, and the Sweet 16 for the men's NCAA tournament gets started. We'll break it all down on Thursday on Clinton Friends at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN app.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Tomorrow, you'll be listening to the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Sweet 16 action as the Alabama Crimson Tide getting ready to take on BYU. And we will have the Auburn game for you as well coming up on Friday from Atlanta, courtesy of Westwood One. And the other day on True TV, saw Air again. And I went to the movie theater the day one that thing was released. And, I mean, it's just one of those movies now that I've now watched 3 different times. And that made me text our next guest, who, by the way, also has a book out as well called Legends and Souls. And I'm into chapter 7 right now, Sonny, but there is a lot to get into as Sonny Vaccaro is kind enough to join us. How are you, sir?
I'm much better now. I'm talking to you guys, and I wanted to catch up. So I appreciate you watching there, and I really appreciate you talking about the book that we just completed.
Absolutely. I'll get into that here in a second. I will get into what I've read and listened to from Audible here in a moment, but I want to start with the tournament. I mean, the SEC, the 14 teams out of the SEC. Tell me what you saw over the weekend in the big dance. What impressed you the most there, Sonny?
Well, I think what I saw is talent will win eventually. That's what's happening now in the world we live in college sports. I thought, that there were no, I don't, go to Arkansas for a second. I mean, and everyone was, shooting them in the head and all that sort of stuff. When you have good players and the time arises where it's time to put on a performance, they'll show. Basketball is easier than football because basketball, why? There are more people here, more teams involved, and you're not just playing to get in that playoff in football. Football's a bugger because you lose one game or two games, you may not even get a chance to get champion. So looking at it right now, there's no question in my mind that the best teams are and have been all year. You have a lot of them in your conference, but they are very good. And I just feel it's going to get down to, four of the, teams that no one's going to say, well, that's BS or that's beautiful. Let's just go to the beautiful thing. That's wonderful. The upset guy won it. There haven't been too many upset guys, and there's not going to be any this year.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of chalk going on right now, but Alabama and Auburn. This is not the first time we've talked to you, Sonny. Now we all know that this is a football state, but it was a lot of fun earlier to have 1 versus 1, as Auburn was number 1 in one poll against Alabama being number 1 in another. It made like a welcome to basketball season in a big way here in this state, Sonny.
Well, I think what it's done, for your state, all the surrounding states, the SEC states, to be very honest with you, is let the world know the great athletes can play any sport in the world. And in the past, football has been dominant. It's been if you're something most of your life, if you grew up with with all the great ones, the legendary situations, and you didn't have them in the other sport or the other dances they're dancing today, that will happen. But this doesn't take away the skills of the athletes that are now playing right now. They are much better than the skills. Not that these other kids weren't good, but they are today. And the reason is basketball is the universal sport in the world. It's not soccer anymore. It's not anything basketball because they start playing young and you get better and better and better as you start playing young.
I mentioned going through the first several chapters of your book. The first thing that kind of stood out to me is something that you said about your dad playing with a guy that cheats. I was wondering if you could maybe expound a little bit on that for me, Sonny.
Yes, I was 13 years old. And my father, everyone in our little community in Pennsylvania at that time, gambled. Poker was the biggest thing, or you played the number situation. But my mom would send me down to get daddy at the the shop, where they played poker every day. Every day, it was a paper shop really in the back room, played poker. So I get down and tell him, Dad, Mom wants to come home for dinner. So we're outside, and I used to watch them. And in earlier years, to your audience, I played. I started, but my dad used to take me. It was part of the culture, really, all gambling. And I turned to him one day, and we were halfway home, and I just innocently said, as a kid would say, Dad, why do you play poker with Woody? You know he cheats. And my father said to me, and I swear to God, and everybody else will listen to me now, what he said to his 10, 12, 13-year-old kid was, Juan, that's my name, and Juan, he said, he cheats. I know he cheats. That's why I can play with him. That always stuck in my mind, and that left a legacy in my mind. And I if I can, I like to explain what that means to me. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. So my dad tells me that. And why is it, why you can play? Well, the world that I lived in was basically betting on other situations or making a bet on myself where I wasn't involved in something. So I had to know what the game was. It could have been gambling. It could have been negotiating a contract. It could have been selling a new idea. If you know who your adversary is, if you know who the people are asking you questions that they don't want you to have the right answer to. If you know they do this, I can prepare. And I want to say this, not, 70 years later, because I'm 85 now, guys, but what I'm saying to you, I honestly believe that was one of the greatest, classroom exhibitions. It took 2 minutes or 1 minute for my father to tell me. If I know what the other guy does, I can plan for it. If I don't, he's going to trick me, or I'm going to be surprised, and I'm going to lose. I have a better chance of losing if I have no idea what he's going to do.
Talking to Sonny Vaccaro right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. So the other early question, as I mentioned, I'm halfway through Chapter 7 right now, is the idea for an all-star basketball game. Where did that idea pop into your head, Sonny? On one, if you could pull it off, and two, you kind of chronicle how you executed it. And by the way, that's fantastic to read as well. But just the idea of that, where did that come from, Sonny?
Just knowing what I was doing. I was really a football player in college. I got hurt. I couldn't play football anymore. They kept me on scholarship, which is something, unreal in 1958, 59. I was there, and they kept me on scholarship because the basketball coach liked my whatever it was in a fall practice. He liked something about me. And he asked the football coach, because they're going to keep me on scholarship, can I take Vaccaro over and he can help me get basketball players? Now, to your audience, I was pretty good football, pretty good baseball in my youth. I was. That sucked now. Basketball is my last sport. I only played it because I was only 53 kids in my class, and we played every sport. So I had nothing about basketball. I played the game, but I had no clue. So now, Don Mazzelli asked me, can I get him players to come to Youngstown State? How the heck, why would he even ask that? I have no idea. So his dying day, Dom never explained it, except he liked me. So now I start getting kids off the street in Pittsburgh. That's where I'm from, Pittsburgh, right next to the Ohio line. And I said, okay, I can do that. I'll go see kids play ball and do whatever. We'll go to tournaments. Well, there used to be a lot of tournaments back east, especially on the East Coast at that time when they owned basketball. And I would gather kids whose names I knew, or they were in a paper because they played, all section or something like that. And I'd ask them, can we put a team together? Let's go to East Riversville High and we'll play a tournament. Let's go to Sharon, Pennsylvania, which is like 60 miles away. So I start picking up kids from Pittsburgh to go to these tournaments, and I was picking up good kids. The kids were pretty dang good. And I saw the interest in basketball. Now I am in graduate school. I graduate. I go to graduate school. And Ralph Miller at Wichita State was there. I went there on a scholarship, graduate scholarship, because I was involved with these young kids. So Ralph tells me through his assistant coach named Lanny Van Even, he says, we'll give you, we'll give a scholarship to come and work on your master's. I went to Wichita, not knowing who, Wichita, Dave Stallworth, all those guys, great players, Cincinnati University, great championship, that great Missouri Valley. I went there to keep learning from Ralph Miller. While I was there, I watched, them break. I don't want to get too deep. We're taking time. But
Yeah.
So I learned basketball on the go. Now the biggest change in my life. I go home for Easter vacation, and Ralph has me go see this kid, over in Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania. He said, tell me what do you think about him? Now I'm like 20 now. I'm 20 or 21, okay? And he says, just give Lanny the report and we'll send guys there. I'm going to pick him up, and I wrecked on a road. Horrible wreck. I'm in a hospital. I cannot go back to Wichita. It's casting my things too much. My whole life changed. I now can't go to graduate school, but I remember those days. I was home, sitting in my mom's single to the cast on my back. And I remember these kids. And I went to a friend of mine named Pat DeFever, who, young like me, he was working the music business. And he actually was involved at a very young age in a very minor part in bringing the Beatles to the Civic Arena, which was the big basketball arena in Pittsburgh, in 1964. I said, Pat, I got an idea. What's your idea, son? Pat didn't know crap about that. I said, these kids around here are really good. Why don't we do an all-star game and play the rest of the world? You may remember, or somebody on your thing may remember, there used to be a big 33 football game, where football used to have sorts of, in California they had an all-star game, too. I noticed that because I went to junior college in California. But I said, basketball is the same. These kids are good. So I said, what? So I went out and I gathered a team, and I had to pick an All-American team now. I never saw the other players. I'd do trade magazines. I'd read the magazines and get newspapers from out of town. And I'd look at these newspapers and read up. And that's how I invited the kids to all the visiting kids the first 2 years. I never saw them first. I went to the Post-Gazette, the big paper. Pat and I, the deal with Pat, because I didn't have any money, Pat was working for, he just had the Beatles in, and he could get the Civic Arena. He said, let's do it, Sonny. 10,000 people. No game ever played before. No national publicity. I got the first papers on that. The Post-Gazette, the Dapper Dan Club, which was a charity, gave me the okay. The rest is history. The first game, we sold out, an all-star game, 13 years before McDonald's had an all-star game. 13 years. 10,336 people turned out. And that started the Sonny Vaccaro life.
That's supposed to taste.
That's
right?
awesome.
That's supposed to taste, by the way. I'm Sonny. I like I told you, I'm only 7 chapters in, but I mean, it's so good. And it knows now a little bit more on your background. The fact that I know we've talked to you about your Kentucky blood a little bit of going to Lexington there, but just all the stories as well, and the name Joe Namath popped up as well, being there from Western Pennsylvania.
Well, we had them all from Western Pennsylvania in those days. If you remember, Texas, to be very honest, the South, because of Bear, no question about it. Okay, they were always like another world to us, though. I mean, I didn't know about it. I knew about Bear because I one of my what my difference eventually played at Alabama. My point I'm making is basketball was this rising, thunderbolt. There is no question about life today, and when you go through it, that an athlete is an athlete to everybody and for everybody if they have a chance to be athletic. And that's what I saw, I guess. I hope I'm not screwing things up for what the radio. I'm just telling you, there was this thing, the South was football.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
That's why I was late. Not because the kids couldn't play, because they grew up playing football.
And now look at, to have 14 teams and the big, I know I've told you in the past, I'm a Big East. I loved Big East basketball growing up. And this is as close to Big East basketball that I've ever seen in the Southeastern Conference, Sonny, this year.
Yeah. You know what? You're absolutely right, because the Big East was like only about 8 teams. That's in Georgetown, and they won all the teams in St. John's and Louis with John Thompson and all those great teams. Absolutely right. But what you have now is let's just be very honest about this. Look what's the Big East now. Like, they're pretty good, and St. John's was the weakest, physically, of winning this thing than any of the first 2 rounds. You just want to be honest about everything. But it still was a Big East. We did a hell of a job. But I just go back to this one word: athleticism, the ability to play the game. It's beyond comprehensive. And now that the South are just going to be, include the whole district, it's no mystery anymore. The kids are good. They're talented. All they needed was a chance. But the Big East at one time helped frame college basketball, no matter how you want to start it, because it was a Madison Square Garden. They had celebrity coaches, and they were pretty damn good.
So we've also talked to you in the past about being involved with the Ed O'Bannon case, but look at us here in 2025. I mean, in your wildest dream, did you see this day coming?
I did, and then it's by the time you'll shut me off the show now, but I did, and I didn't think it like it was, because I also, and you guys should remember, we had, O'Bannon never would have gone further unless the people who ran the conferences in the President of Notre Dame, Mr. Feinberg, when we were done with O'Bannon, we had not gotten off, what the verdict was going to be. It was not yet. When Feinberg represented us, all other things, he put together a financial deal that the NCAA and the players could have made a deal. I want to tell your audience right now, the one that he would have used would have, and I know because I got paper, I got copies of it. The one they would have used is all the people who sponsored the athletic teams of the universities playing. Football and basketball defined, just so you know, football and basketball, and portions of that to each specific team. More is for football because they have more players than basketball and baseball. Not baseball, just basketball and football. So, and we sent them a letter, and they sent back, and I'm not going to tell you who, but you know the name right away because he was commissioner there a long time. And he said, we see no reason for doing anything. That was one sentence. They refused. Now we all know that it's now going to courts, and the Alston case, and now we got the House case, all these cases. It's going to get deeper and deeper. But the one thing you have to know to your public right there, it could have been, if they would have did a deal with contracts and all that, and these kids would have got paid, it would not have exploded like it is today. It would not have happened because there would have been a contract. There would have been an deal between the scholarship and the athlete. That was that easy. But these people evaded it. Now you know where I'm going, Len. You know where I'm going. They had a chance to say yes. All these kids were cheated. You were cheated. You were cheated out of your portion because you deserved it. But for 100 years, I'm exaggerating, 100 years, they wouldn't let you do it. Well, now the whole house is gone. And to make another prediction before I leave this earth, in 5 years, it'll be running like this. What we're watching is amateur sports won't be amateur sports, but it'll be just as good. Kids will stay longer in college because they'll be remunerated much better, and the game will spread all over the world. At both ends. I mean, they screwed up. The NCAA, they deserved
it. Well said, Sonny. Final question I've got for you. Who do you have cutting down the nets in San Antonio? Is there a team that you like to cut down the nets in the tournament?
No, I really don't. I don't know the people. I don't know a lot of these coaches. Most of my guys have quit in the middle of the season and all that sort of thing. I really don't. I think if you asked me if this would have been Sonny Vaccaro 10 years ago, there's no question from what my NBA people tell me that Duke has more talent who will probably be all-star in the NBA than any other team. They said it. But also, Florida is really good. And the outsider that I was given, and I told my brother-in-law to put in the thing, was Maryland. That was, that was, they're pretty good, obviously. And that game the other day, and I shot that kid made, will last forever. Don't you agree?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. March are made for moments like that.
Yeah, that's why it's March Madness. That's why the madness began the other night with that shot. There was a couple. The game before that, the kid had a 99-foot jump shot from the corner. You thought the game was over. I mean, that's what makes college basketball a little bit different than football. A little bit different than football.
Well, Sonny, it's always our honor to talk to you. It was great to talk to Pam as well earlier, and wish you and Pam nothing but the best of health moving forward, sir.
Well, God bless you guys, and thank you. And don't lose the number. I love.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, as soon as I'm done with this puppy, I'm calling you because I will definitely have more questions, son.
And I would enjoy that. I don't know if they're always. I know they're honest. I don't know if it'll happen.
Well, I know you're going to shoot to me straight too, as well, Sonny.
Right.
So I always
All right.
appreciate that.
All right. God bless you guys. Bless you with everything.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, son. That is Sonny Vaccaro. And again, I'm through 7 chapters of it right now, and looking forward to diving in more to it as it's just right out of the gate, just chronicling his upbringing. It's called Legends and Souls, the memoir of an American original. And I think that's probably the best way to put it, as Sonny Vaccaro with Armin Katayan is the author that penned it.
Busy. Armin's been busy.
What else has he been doing?
He wrote that book with John Talty about the.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
The tumultuous year in collegiate athletics with all the wheeling and dealing and the NIL and everything. So, but Sonny's a Nostradamus. He's always kind of seen everything coming, and within 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if he's correct that everything is settled down. And then they have everything humming. Where there's so many doomsayers saying that the game's done. I mean, the only thing that's done right now is the NBA. Hopefully within 5 years he'll come out of a coma because LeBron will be done.
Oh boy, you sure about that?
Well, he might, with load management, he might be playing at 47. Who knows? Probably be on the last place Raptors.
I know the Hawks.
At that point
I
in
watched
time.
a little bit of the Hawks game last night against the Rockets, and that was pretty painful to watch.
Yeah,
but that's life as an Atlanta Hawk fan. But we are all circling, at least I am, especially as a sports talk show host and someone who covers college athletics as a whole. April 8th, the big deal. I mean, it just the House settlement on how this is ultimately going to shake out.
I enjoyed watching listening to Jay Billis break that down.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer by trade, I think,
right.
And so
that's why I went there with him.
And so he can get to the brass tacks with you and tell you what he truly believes, and Jay's never had a problem doing that and being very transparent. So that's it was very interesting to hear. I mean, and like you said, he's probably right about Congress. It's not going to be that easy just to get it rolling, but it'll be a first step, no doubt about it, to getting things settled down and getting guardrails put up. And I agree with him on the contract situation. Now, my question is, will they be multi-year contracts? I would kind of think it would
make sense.
It would, but in many ways, unless a kid and his family are just locked in, I would think almost, since coaches can move so easily,
but they have
be
to
multi-year. I mean, 1 year contract.
Yeah, but these coaches can move, but they play penalties.
Yeah.
It isn't like they have penalties to get out of their contract.
Yeah, buyouts.
That's the thing. Yeah. So there have to be buyouts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd be good with 2 points of transfers. That's a grad transfer.
I'm
and
good
then
with that.
one get out of jail free card.
That's what I've said before. Enable them to move once during the 4 to 5 year period, and then if you graduate, then you can move again. But all this stuff of Barry Dunning, who signed with Arkansas, transferred to UAB, transferred to South Alabama, and now he's back in the portal. Like, I don't know. Why are you about to try to go to your 4th school? I mean, when you finally had success at South Alabama.
Well, we know why. But that needs to change. I mean,
Going to the highest
I think you ought to sign a 3-year contract. 2 years with an option, right?
Yeah.
So that's there you go.
But I do think Sonny is right about one thing. We're already even seeing it now, is that the guys like a Sears or a Jonai Broom instead of taking a chance and basically rolling the dice and leaving after last year, which both of them probably would have done in the past, now they come back because of NIL and they get better. Like, Sears has got back-to-back first-team All-Americans, and now Jonai Broom has a chance to be the player of the year, and it already has been named
Johnny's
that.
brother?
I don't know. Does he work for Bassmaster? I don't know. But seriously, no.
We'll pronounce it right.
Yeah, but see, and now and Jonai's already won one Player of the Year award, I believe, by Sporting News.
That's right.
So he could win more. I mean, and Auburn is, for the second time ever, got the number 1 overall seed, and so it's crazy. They've had a great year, and don't forget, I watched a feature on him on SEC Network, 2021. Which was the Walker Kessler, Jabari Smith year for Auburn.
Yeah.
He was a freshman at Morehead State from Tampa, Florida. He played against Auburn. That's how they found him. And so and he'd been overlooked in recruiting, kind of a late bloomer. And now you see him.
He's gotten tremendously better since his
every year. So there you go.
And so is Caldwell. Caldwell, to me, is the
Caldwell.
Most, Caldwell, yeah. What's his first name?
Jason. I'm messing with you. I look straight at Drew to say that.
Yeah.
Dylan Cardwell.
Yeah.
And now
Jason's pretty good.
No, but Dylan's gotten better every year, and now
he's gotten tremendously better from last year.
Yeah. If you want to see
like 20 years,
a great defender, just watch the second half against Creighton. The way he could switch and he would guard on the perimeter, and then still be able to drop and guard underneath and be very physical. It was like, to be honest with you, it reminded me of watching probably what Rick Mahorn looked like when he was young.
He kind of looks like Rick Mahorn.
That's very fair.
Yeah, but what I like about him, you can tell he's just a nice guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he knocks people down and picks them up.
And I got
Dylan Cardwell.
Exactly.
I know.
I got stories. I mean, Rick Mahorn took Coach Val out drinking when he went to camp with the Bullets. So
Yeah.
But I think honestly, I'm really looking forward to that Auburn-Michigan game because I think it's a great matchup. Because I think Dusty May is one of the best young coaches in the country.
Yeah.
I hope Darian DeVries is finally the answer for Indiana, but I think Dusty May, if they had decided to, and again, I know why they didn't move on from Mike Woodson. Because Mike Woodson means a lot to Indiana University.
Yeah.
In playing for Coach Knight and being one of the greatest players ever, they wanted to give him every opportunity, but the timing got screwed up. You weren't able to get Dusty from FAU because he worked for Coach Knight.
Yeah.
And then I still say Chris Beard was the best candidate in this cycle. I don't know why they didn't do that.
That's why I went there with Billis.
The SEC, that's and to Ole Miss, that's to their benefit because they had a chance to keep Chris Beard. And, there were some dominoes that didn't happen last year that allowed, them to keep him a year ago when he didn't go to Arkansas. So Ole Miss has kept Beard. We'll see how long they can keep him. And they've got a really good team. I mean, a lot of times during the college basketball season, it's a long journey, but there's always these, when you lose a game, especially if you come in as a definitive favorite, the sky is falling, what's wrong with the chemistry, you start panicking. But now you clear everything out and you realize it's beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, but they were pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And they were good, though. I mean, they're a Sweet 16 team.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Tennessee, Auburn, Florida. They're all in the Sweet 16.
And then Oregon nearly made it. Oregon had beat Alabama early and lost that classic to Arizona that would have nearly got. And Dana Altman, by the way, 20 wins from 800. So he's had a long and illustrious career.
Final 27 minutes belong to you as we need to take our first time out. Yes, that they have finally figured out. I do have a camera up here pointing out. So it's not on us.
Oh.
It's not on us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is some waiting staff and a few folks that are coming up and kind of posing.
Wes seemed thrilled with the camera.
No. The look of, oh, my gosh. Anyway, I'm not going to completely rat them out.
Yeah.
But don't worry. There is a camera here, but it's to show the fine people here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. So come on by. As you can tell on WZZN TV, it is bustling. All right, Joe, let's take our first time out. Phone line's open to you at 256-576-4977. We'll be right back.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's truck month. No payments for 90 days on 24 and 25 models of F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, and Lightning. We've got over 220 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Great deals on Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, and Explorer 2. Come check those out. But right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you can drive a 2024 F-150 XLT Hybrid for as little as $339 a month. $339 for an F-150. That's a 36-month lease with 6448 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 3/31/25. Call us at 539-9441 for complete details. Over 220 F-150s and nearly 50 Rangers and Maverick pickups to choose from, all with great sales incentives and 0 payments for 90 days. Woody Anderson Ford, we hope to see you soon.
Countdown to the 2025 Trash Panda season is on. Tickets are available for the full 2025 home schedule, including opening night on Friday, April 4th. But it doesn't end there. The Trash Panda season opens with 9 home games in 10 days, featuring theme nights, giveaways, fireworks, and more. This opening homestand has it all. For more information, check us out online at trashpandasbaseball.com.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Back here at Baumhower's Victory Grill, along with Wes Neighbors, Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton back here with you. And Joe Hunk, our resident Auburn fan, has required me to play some audio from Hugh Freeze.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze spoke to the media yesterday, and Joe said, I'll do it. I'll do your show today, but I want to hear from Coach Freeze.
He loves
I mean,
Freeze.
he was just adamant.
Give him another year.
He was just adamant about it.
Yeah.
He can't stand Hugh Freeze.
No, he can't. He can't stand Reverend Freeze.
Here is the Right Reverend Coach Freeze on his.
Coach, how you doing?
On his. Can we just go ahead and call him the starting quarterback? Here's Coach Freeze on Jackson Arnold.
Very, very optimistic. He's got a calm demeanor, a confidence. He understands ball, high football IQ, arm strength is good. The reason he was Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school, and I think needed a start to regain some confidence, and I think he's doing that in a fast pace. decision making has been on point. We'll watch today's film. I don't know about it, but in the previous 3 days, again, you didn't have pads on and stuff, but there's been very, very few decisions that were the wrong ones. And I think he's throwing a very accurate ball. Really impressed with his pocket presence when the traffic is around him where his eyes are. They stay downfield. He uses his legs when he needs to. Really excited and impressed, truthfully, both with him and Deuce. Deuce's maturity is way farther along than what I even knew. And he is hungry to learn and always asking questions and always wanting to talk about how do I improve this and that, and is a extremely hard worker that you have to run off the field from trying to throw too much. They're getting a lot of throws because there's only 2 of them right now, and you got to monitor that. But I'm really pleased with both of those guys right now.
Yeah, the cat from Stanford's not here yet. He gets there in June. Yeah. Somebody sent me a text yesterday. I had not heard it yet. And he was like, I guess they're going 12-0.
I was thinking
about it is March.
Yeah, it is.
And everybody has high hopes.
Undefeated.
You hope they should be better, don't you think, Greg?
I think they will be. I think of course, I thought they would be last year, and they didn't take the step. I thought they would win 8, and I thought they'd get to a bowl, and I'm going to go with that again this year. I think they can win 8 games, get to a bowl game. I don't expect them to be in the playoff, but I think they're going to get better.
Well, to your subject of winning, that's where Brian Matthews went with Coach Freeze. And here is how Hugh handled that question.
I mean, we need to play better, and we need to win some games for sure. I think our sense of urgency is you prepare and you give them confidence, and I don't think you do that out of a sense of fear or the what if world or any of that. Man, I love our kids right now. I love our approach. I love our staff.
Okay, all right. We've heard that part before, but we need to win games is kind of where I wanted to go. At least that's a new. He did also have this to say on the wide receiver room and his expectations on his wide receivers.
They better make plays. If that room doesn't have success, we won't have success. But it is one of the more talented rooms I've ever been associated with. And, somebody asked me the other day how I would rank that room versus DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Van Jefferson, Evan Ingram. I think it's a bit early for me to put all of that on them, but it rivals it. It's close. I think, even like Malcolm and Perry, who just a second year in the same system with the same terminology, doing the same things, you see them now catching on. There were still times last year, that, Peyton's ready for Malcolm or Perry to do this, and it may not get exactly done. And now you start seeing them executing at a better level. So we are very much dependent upon that room having success.
So that's as definitive. I mean, him even going there.
Yeah, he's going there. And listen, but how many games did he win that year? 8, 9?
9. I think it was 9.
Yeah,
I want to say it was 9.
What are you talking about?
Ole Miss.
With all those receivers they had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With the DK, A.J. Brown.
I think that was a 9-1 year.
And one of the years they even had, the kid that grew up wanting to be a Rebel in Chicago.
Yeah.
So,
whatever happened to him?
He got hurt with Minnesota and kind of washed out of the NFL.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Recognize that.
Laquan Treadwell, by the way.
Yeah.
5-star from Chicago.
Hugh had one 10-win season at Ole Miss, and he was 6-2 that year in the SEC 2015. So maybe that was the 10-win year?
It was the 10-win year. They beat Alabama in the Ricochet game, but then they gagged against Arkansas in one of the beautiful finishes in SEC history. when they're throwing laterals behind their head and everything.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the tackle
threw
the ball over his right shoulder, and he was right next to the sideline, right to somebody. What? No look, backward, out of the pass.
On the last play of the game.
Who caught it and ran the touchdown?
Was that Henry?
I wanted to say it was the tailback.
I thought it was the tight end.
Well, I think Hunter Henry caught it, but I think he's the one that threw it behind his head.
Okay.
Was it Hunter Henry? But the tackle did touch it on part of the play.
because they threw it several times.
Yeah. That was incredible.
Yep. So.
What a horrible way to lose a game.
What a beautiful way to lose, because it cost them the SEC. And basically, he was crying in the press conference, at the end of the season that we should have been, in the SEC championship game. We were the best team.
Coulda, right?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Well, that doesn't win you anything.
I've said that several times.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, though.
I mean, if Milroe didn't throw it to the other team so much, Alabama would have won more last year.
Yeah.
So
12 turnovers his last 3 games. And they actually won one of those. That's amazing.
Against Auburn and Hugh.
I actually had a better SEC record in his first year than he did last year.
As a matter of fact, now I do remember who scored the winning touchdown, I believe, and I think he's tragically passed on. But it was a really good running back from the Tampa area for Arkansas, Alex Collins, who was an outstanding back for
I didn't realize he was passed away.
I think he had a motorcycle accident after he had retired from the NFL. But Alex Collins is a really good back that a lot of people don't remember, who played for Burt Bielema.
So, Joe, is that enough from Hugh Freeze, or do you want me to play a little bit more from Hugh Freeze? Or are you good back there? Are you
like
taking
King
another
of
nap?
comedy when he talks. I mean, it's just joke after joke.
Well, that at least there was a little bit of substance there talking about the wide receiver room.
Honestly, that's the thing. That's the thing about Hugh Freeze. He will give you 99% garbage, and then he'll throw that one little thing out there. He's like, you know what? He actually isn't wrong about that. Like, he may not actually be wrong about that. Then he starts talking about, Jackson Arnold hasn't made too many mistakes. Well, the first one's stepping on campus. That's the first mistake.
Just want to make sure that our resident Auburn fan was pleased with the amount of sound bites.
We're really pleased with him. What that really means is like, look, guys, every other coach lies to the players. These coaches and these players know I'm lying to them when they walk in. So it's the best I could get. Okay, it's the best guy I could get.
Well, okay, just to tee it up, the longest answer, and because this is what I do, I cut up press conferences. The longest answer to any one question was...
You just wanted to ask how you're doing.
That was the longest answer of any one question in his press conference.
No burner phone.
You just wanted to ask how you're doing.
Which, I mean, honestly, I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad it was caught early.
Yes, very much. I think Hugh's going to be fine.
3 minutes on that answer.
Okay.
That's what he does. Remember, let's not forget what he did at SEC Media Days when he had to stand up there and he was given like an allotment of 30 minutes and he talked for like 28 of them.
Yes. He got like 2 questions. I thought I was going to get one of them, but no, I didn't.
Yeah.
There was no time. It was almost like when Ogeron would get up there and read the whole depth chart so he wouldn't have to answer a lot of questions.
Got back
that was one of the – I miss Robbie Caldwell. I really miss Robbie.
I miss Mike Leach. No speech.
Gosh.
Just take questions.
Yeah, right out of the gate is what you got.
Fire away.
What do you got?
Yeah. What do you got? I miss him every year.
Oh.
I mean, good Lord. And you could ask him anything.
He was a lot of fun.
Yep.
We used to
because he was another lawyer.
Yeah.
He was a genius.
Yeah.
We used to play when he was at
Washington State.
Yeah.
Just
play
we
played his whole press conferences sometimes.
Well, it just looked like the question he got when someone asked him about the mascots in the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah.
And the Pac-12 doesn't even exist. I wish he was still with. Yeah, I wish he was still with us so we could ask him, Coach, what do you miss most about the Pac-12 now that it's disintegrated? Why do you think it disintegrated? Oh, Lord.
One of my favorite rants that he went on was about committees.
Yeah.
The college football playoff committee.
Yeah.
It is 49 after the hour, so it's time for the customary Tom Abraham break. So let's go ahead and take her final timeout, and we'll wrap things up from Baumhower's on the other side.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Hey there, Bob Baumhower again. March Madness is here, and it's time to hoop it up at Baumhower's Victory Grill with our Slam Dunk specials. It's nothing but net with a pound of our world-famous wings. Tip it off with our party-ready trays, including traditional wings, buttermilk fried chicken tenders, and hot lips, to name a few. Want a cold beer with those wings? How about $7.99 pitchers of Yingling served all day? 7 days a week. Break out those brackets and bring the gang to the best watch party place in town. Baumhower's Victory Grill, the true king of wings.
Hey folks, this is managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and Roar Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia if you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call. Stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC. Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage, with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon, but we are going to be a little bit cooler today. Highs climbing into the mid and upper 60s. A couple of folks hitting the lower 70s, but we're definitely going to be cooler today compared to what we saw yesterday across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. Really going to begin to notice the increase in cloud cover through Thursday afternoon, and then as we head into Thursday evening, temperatures consistently climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
And he is just absolutely parked wide. I don't believe the left fielder or the center fielder for AUM even moved.
Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time. Turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Leach on committees.
It is the mind-numbingly short-sighted notion that 4 teams for a playoff, somehow establishes something, and that's a very clever approach. I mean, that's such a brilliant approach. That's why everybody does it that way. Nobody does it that way. I mean, if we were so smart, wouldn't all the other sports say, I know what, let's have a committee, because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner. And then we'll decide which 4 teams should go. Because you know why? We don't need to solve this on the field. Because we're the ones that know. And then, if we're going to do it that way, we should just ask them at the beginning of the season. Just go ahead and you guys vote on it, figure out 1, 2, 3, and 4, and why even have the games? To me, it's not a playoff. There's nothing playoff about it. And this is even if we make it. Even if we make it, my thoughts don't change. How can you call it a playoff when there's 4 teams? Conference champions don't even necessarily make the playoffs because you know why? Because the committee knew better.
Mike Leach, ladies and gentlemen.
He was the one and only.
Stuff, yeah.
Unbelievable. Like I say, one of my favorite stories Rodney Orr ever told me was when we was in Hal Mummy as the OC and quarterback coach and trying to recruit Tyler Watt from Bellum. And he called what he thought was Tyler's dad at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was his uncle. And he didn't take a breath for like 45 minutes until finally the uncle said, well, Coach Leach, I'm not even his dad. I'll give you his dad's number, though. You can call him tomorrow.
You need to play the mascot one.
The last time that we had Hal Mummy on, he mentioned this car trip that they went on from Miami to North Carolina. Yeah, and they did not turn on the radio.
The whole time.
The whole time.
That is not a shock with Mike Leach.
And the whole conversation was about pirates.
Oh, my goodness.
The whole way.
Yeah. Well, I had a friend of mine one time. He was vacationing in Key West. And he got so excited, he started texting the group, the pirate, the pirate, the pirate. He ran into Leach because the Leach had a vacation home over in Key West at that time. He's like, I just saw the pirate.
I'm married to a pirate.
He went on a dinosaur rant at Mississippi State. You remember that one?
When I was a kid, I was in grade school, and I was a big dinosaur guy, and I can't remember the gas station, but they'd give you a free dinosaur. If you got filled up there. That's back when they had commercials on TV, and then they'd give something to the kids, people like me, and then and the idea was you raise hell with your parents every time you're in the station wagon. When we had one good classic, like, something off of Wonder Years, it was one of those fake Woody ones where it had, fake painted on wood. But then the best is it would always, without exception, the finish and the varnish on it would peel. So then it looked more bogus than ever. So we had one of those. And of course, I'd try to sit way back in that jump seat back there, so you could pretend you were in a spaceship or something. And but anyway, so they'd have these commercials, And then, hoping to get the kids raise hell, let's go to this gas station. I can't remember what gas station it was.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Mike Leach.
One of a kind.
You got to find the.
We're out of time. But the last question I asked him was about grading the officials, and this is what he told me.
Well, that's obviously a ridiculous question, and you know it unless I plan to spend some money. But I'll tell you what, you go ahead and mail me a check, and I think $30,000 will cover it, although I would want to check the market first. And you go ahead and mail me the check, and I'll give you one heck of an answer.
I asked him to grade the officials in his games.
There you go. I just love the way he.
Yeah. We need to get Hal Mummy back on.
Is he retired?
I think he's because
he's been
helping out programs.
I mean, consulting, I guess, because I know he was on the NAI level for a while.
That's going to wrap us up here from Baumhower's. Thank you for listening as well as watching on WZZN TV.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. We are your home for March Madness.
He throws a baseball for the bar free throw line. It's one to the basket.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour of the Paul Feinbaum Show is brought to you by Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
He'll make sense of it all. Eagles about to hook 'em. If you wanna look at, watch out for the tide that's rolling in. The weekend's full of surprise. Big upsets to rivalries. I'm on show. They don't get the best of me. He'll make sense of it all. Yeah. Call Paul. He'll make sense of it all. Yeah, call Paul.
Final hour has arrived. Been a busy show. We opened it up with Sean Miller, the new coach at Texas. We have Patrick Peterson. But we have saved the best for the final hour. Legend is next.
Oh, yeah. What's up, my black hat brother? How you doing, baby?
We're doing great.
Man, it was good to see Randy today, man. Shout out to my black hat brother. Glad to see you doing better, man. Great to see Randy, man. But I just got to tell my black hat brother the same thing Joe Biden's aides told him. Bike, no. Paul, Paul, I didn't get a chance to ask you earlier in the week, how disgraceful was Dan Hurley after the Florida game?